Boom, we are live. Will is happening. Um
There we go.
so so it, whatever vehicle it was 102, it was Columbia, and it's on the jack stands in the orbiter processing facility. And I'm in training, and Jensen is with me, thank the Lord. And we're standing there, and it's a local op. We're just doing a landing gear operation. We're just the most common thing we did as hydraulic guys for shuttle was raise and lower the landing gear for the tile people. They were always working the doors for the landing gear because it was one of the spots, one of the few spots that there's dynamic conditions where the doors are shutting after the landing gear goes up. Anyway,
Yeah.
so boom, I think we hit the button to raise it, to raise the gear, the landing gear, and one of the forward observer for the forward landing gear, he goes, break, break, break. We got a hydraulic leak. And man, it was like, and I think we were raising the gear to roll the thing out to stack. It was that. It was. And thank God Jensen was there because I would have choked. But he's like, hit the extend, lower them, hit the extend button, and mechanisms, MEQ's they're the ones that hit the button to raise it and to extend the gear. It's mechanisms guys. We just provide the hydraulic pressurization for the orbiter to operate anything hydraulically. And that was it. So anyway, but that I figured was so long ago. There's no way that shit's CUI anymore.
I don't know, Phil. You might get caught for that one.
Classic.
They probably got a picture of you hanging up in the fucking Kennedy Space Center. Or the visitor center.
Right. Or in the VAB with like a big bullseye, and people are like throwing darts, telling the secrets. Anyway, that was quite an intro. I couldn't help myself, but that was really true. It probably would have been in like '96, if I had to guess. But wow. So episode 15. So episode 15, Bill, I want you to say what it is, please.
Here's an episode.
Do anything I say.
Here's an episode on Poison and Motley Crue, which I've donned this shirt quite a few times. I think I've worn this almost 3 weeks in a row, which if I had, I guess I was just so in anticipation of this one that I just had to continue to show the love and support for Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feelgood. Oh my goodness. Okay. I was gonna go to comments, but since the one person dropped off, I'll go to full screen for a second. Oh man. Episode 15, Poison and Motley Crue. The genesis, I'll just say it real quick. The genesis of this whole thing, Will, I told you, Joe and Sean and Scott, that string, and of course Joe fired immediately when I texted him and said, "This is what the next episode was going to be," and Joe's like, "What? What? He's like, you fucking idiot! What are you doing, man? That's like stupid." And it's something to that effect. And it was actually unexpected, but bottom line is the motivation behind this is CC DeVille for me. You guys know I'm an obsessed guitar nut as far as listening to guitarists and guitars. That's that's the particle accelerator that drives all this. So
coming from the resident drummer,
from the drummer, yeah. Hence the SG, the Epiphone SG. I've mentioned this before, but it's a great story. It was like 6 months ago. It was probably longer ago, but anyway, within the last year, I got online and bought a Epiphone SG, a Super Gibson Epiphone. And as soon as I did it, I was on the porch and I came in and came inside, and Becky's in the kitchen. And I said, I just bought a guitar. So she's like, really? And I think I may have had like a picture of it because it was so gorgeous, man. The thing was awesome. And so I was like, yeah, I just bought that. And she goes, but you're not a guitarist.
Yeah, you don't play guitar.
You don't play guitar. And I'm like, I know that. It was almost like a Seinfeld scene. Yes, I know that. Anyway, so such as that. But CC DeVille, to me, he was the so when this music was occurring in the 90s, late 80s and early 90s, I was not listening to it. I was just on to other things musically, and I would only hear the songs on the radio. And Poison had several, and boy, Motley Crue had a bunch, that kind of kept going. And those are the only songs I had heard. And of course, drumming, Tommy Lee, and I knew he was pretty famous for his drumming and such. But anyway, so that's the intro. Wow. But it's CC for me. Just his sound, his melodic. I don't want to make words up here, but the melodic structure and just the leads and the natural. It seems to mix like. To me, he seems almost like, he's not Steve Vai, and I'm not trying to say that or compare the two whatsoever, but in other words, I think his technique is such that I think he transcends a lot of those players. So that's that. All right. Will, what are we drinking? And then we might show your shirt. What are we drinking?
Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
The Modelo Light. Joey,
yeah.
Proud.
Yeah, it's from the leftover Super Bowl.
Right. You went by and got the beer.
He said he didn't want them. He said, "Oh, just take the rest." I said, "I have no problem doing that, Joey."
See, the problem is he doesn't realize, like in about a year, he'll go, man, if those things were still in my pantry, I'd freaking chill them and drink them.
He should know, but he's weird like that. He's like, "Oh, I have all this beer. Can you help me out, Will? You think you can help me out?" And I'm like, "Joey, anything for you, brother."
Excuse me for a second. I have to. There's no way to mute the mic. I'm getting over. I'm at the tail end of a respiratory head cold thing that went to the chest. So sorry about that. Will, that's, oh my gosh, you guys are too much. How about so today so I borrowed one of his energy drinks. This is so fun that we get to talk about it.
What'd you do?
No, nothing. But yesterday I borrowed. You remember I borrowed an energy drink
Monster.
from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I needed like an energy drink. Well, at home I have still it's the little small case of Red Bulls.
Right.
And my God, I'm falling in love with that stuff. Oh man, I got to be careful about that. But so today I found them. They wonderful. I put them in the pantry. So out of sight, out of mind. And I'm like, I don't even know where they are. I'm pretty sure I didn't drink them all. Um, so so I came upon them this morning, and so I stocked up. So I brought it. I said, "Hey, Joey, you want a Red Bull to replace the one I took yesterday?" And he laughed, and he was like, "No, you're good."
He's a Red Bull hater, bro.
Well,
He
it
he
sucks.
he goes, I don't like Red Bull. I'm like, you might as well just slap Max Verstappen in the face then, you dick.
World champion.
Yeah, 4-time world champion at that.
He's only a four-time world champion, Formula One, F1. Oh my goodness.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I don't like Red Bull.
yeah. So anyway, I'm glad that I didn't come upon it back when Sean Morton was drinking it back in 2004 work, because that could have gone really different.
I don't look Phil. This is all I'm saying. It's like I don't get Joey. He goes, he's like he said. He goes, I don't like Red Bull. I go, you don't like Red Bull? Well, I don't think you're gonna like my knuckles in your face then.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, all right. Episode 15. You see it on the screen. Um, the Beato thing. That's one of those little tidbits that I jotted down. But Will, I'm going to segue to ads from last week,
Okay.
and it was Genesis.
Uh huh.
So I think you're going to like this. But here's the twist. I have to run in the other room and grab a folder that has ticket stubs from Genesis and Peter Gabriel.
Okay.
So it's in there. Give me a second. You'll have to check it up or or something.
Okay. Yeah. So Phil is doing something that he should have did last episode because I go into work the day after we recorded that episode, and let me say I've had nobody has seen it yet that's watching this currently. Go back and watch it. But we go through this whole episode and we talk about Peter Gabriel and we talk about Phil Collins and we talk about Genesis and we talk about their albums and we talk about their music and we talk about blah 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 blah. And I come into work and go, Phil, haven't you seen these guys in person? And he's like, oh yeah, maybe like a couple times. I'm like, jackass, you didn't say that you saw him in person on the platform that we use to talk about seeing bands in person. And he's like, oh yeah, I should probably do that. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's what we're about to hear right now.
Yeah. So last episode 14 was Genesis and Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. And my gosh, I I can't reflect on that because it was so important to me.
It's really insane. I mean, like Phil Collins is to Genesis, like Peter Gabriel is to Genesis. Like it's crazy. It really is.
That was so funny. It started with it was the country episode before that where it started that whole Dolly is It really is too. It's so funny. But so okay. So indeed, I saw Genesis in 1983, and then I saw what was really cool, and I did point that out at the end or post show. I saw Genesis in '83, and I saw Gabriel exactly 10 years later in '93 in Orlando at the arena. So those were the shows. Um, I had the ticket stubs. I had the ticket stubs. Oh, please don't tell me. Remember, Phil? Where are your glasses? Where are my glasses? You're like, they're on your head, dude. Oh my god.
So we have webcams. You can look at the webcam.
Exactly. So let me see. So the first one is Gabriel. Excuse me. The first one is Genesis because chronologically it was first. December 16th, 1983. The ticket was $14. And it's the Genesis. I was going to UCF at the time. See if we can.
Wow. An evening with Genesis.
An evening with Genesis.
Well, hold on here. It was $14, but 67 cents tax. Now, that's kind of hefty, Phil. Kind of a little hefty. And there's no smoking inside. What am I paying the tax for? I can't even smoke inside. That's ridiculous. I didn't know we were living in communist China back in 1983. My goodness.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're absolutely hysterical.
You could smoke on a plane. You couldn't smoke in the freaking stadium?
Right. Yeah. Right. Somebody that flew there to go see the show. I was like, I'm smoking in the fucking plane. In this big auditorium, you can't smoke. What the hell? It was Lakeland. That was our favorite place. Oh, that one's extra. And then so that was 83. And then Gabriel. But so the Collins, so the Genesis show, Phil Collins just proceeded to completely entertain everybody in the Civic Center. My goodness gracious. He was so entertaining. You know, he'd get up and drum with Chester. You know, they do those doubles that Braden wanted to hear about, you know, where it's a mirror image. It's two drummers and they have it. And they went far enough over time where they were on a slight incline, you know, where you could, and then they were tilted toward each other, right? And you know, in the middle, boom, divided. But you know, each set's probably 20 feet from each other, or you know, maybe 16 feet from each other, approximately. And my God, when Chester and Phil Collins played together like that, it was they would typically complement each other. They weren't. There were times where they were playing the exact same thing for effect, but a lot of times they played opposite each other to an extent, which just sounds like 18 drums instead of 9. And, yeah, and 24 cymbals instead of 12. Oh my gosh, they were just fantastic. So he would do things that was all set up, and when I see the concerts on YouTube nowadays, I go back and look at it. Then Collins would boom, and he'd find the right part where he stops, and Chester keeps going, song keeps going, and Phil gets down and he's dark. You don't see him. You see him leave the drum riser and that's it. And he disappears. And then he comes out, just, 15 seconds later and boom, he grabs the mic and jumps right into one of these great songs that Braden and I were talking about. Oh my God, it was incredible. And then he proceeds to just be a front guy with a microphone. Very entertaining, extremely entertaining.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So that was Genesis and Phil. Got to give Phil the love, man. That guy poured his heart and soul out. He was in other bands, like side projects. There was a band called Brand X that was like instrumental with no vocals. And he's like trying to freaking like do the fusion shit, They were from England. Thanks to Mike Mills for turning me on to Brand X. I would have never heard about them. And it was back at UCF days. But man, Phil just he really. And then Gabriel took off. And I took the albums back in, but I showed you and Braden the Gabriel sleeves and stuff that were really cool. But anyway, so fast forward 10 years, in 93, I get to see Peter Gabriel. And one of the cool things about this is from the moment I realized I'm going to buy a ticket, I was going to buy one ticket and I was going to go by myself because I was not going to be burdened with anything or body about. I wanted to move around the stadium, which I did. It was the Orlando Arena. I wanted to move around, and some people don't like to do that. And they start getting upset. Like, I don't think we should do that, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, fuck that. I am gonna move around and watch Peter Gabriel, my fucking hero. Oh my God. And I did. I went by myself and I proceeded to move around quite a bit and saw some really neat angles of. So it was 93. It was the Us. Braden was sharp to point out that it was the Us tour. But he'd already done So with the Steam and all that stuff. The videos were still on MTV. So wow. So the opening band, I'm really dragging this out. Okay, I'll clip it along. The opening band was a band it was an ensemble of about 12 people from Africa. They were all from Africa and they were dressed like they would and enhanced, of course, because now they're on tour with Peter Gabriel. They toured with him, man. That was his opening act for like a long time. And they were incredible African musicians, and dancing and the vocal stuff and man, yeah, they were. I forget their name. I really forget their name, but boy, there's many opening acts that I don't recall the name. But so then boom, they're done. And was it in the round? Was it in the round? I can't remember that. Anyway, God, flashbacks. Holy shit. I haven't thought about like if they were in there. They were not in the round. He had to be at the one end because the production was so huge. And they were like these thin curtain things where they would get set up for the next thing with Peter's set. And wow. There was one spot. I'll just share one spot, and we got to move on. when I was moving around, I went Socio Arena. He's at that end, I'm watching, and I'm walking, I'm moving around, walking around. Lights are down. Right, the show's going on, so you had to make sure you didn't disturb people too, while you're, while you're doing this. Well,
Right, you're like stepping on them and shit.
yeah, feet or whatever, and. So I went around looking at the stage. I went around to the right, and the big cement walkway that separates like the lower seats from the mid section, upper seats, and walked straight to where it starts turning. And now at this point, I'm not. I'm more back. I'm more from the back side of the stage than the front. And they're putting him in this little canoe. So Peter's getting, and those curtains are kind of situated such that the people don't see him at this point.
Right.
And he gets in this little canoe, and I forget which song it was, and it's on tracks, and it kind of pulls out, and boom, the song's already had started, and he's getting in, and I'm just watching these stagehands like put Peter in this little canoe, man, and man, it was so cool, and then he starts, and the song's going on, and he's got a headset the whole time. He's got this high end headset singing, so he doesn't need a mic, and this song continues, and the curtains kind of pull apart, and he eases out, and I'm watching him go out, and it was fucking cool as shit. And just things like that. That's why I did that. That's why I knew I had to, and yeah, it was super cool. Peter
Awesome.
Gabriel. Yeah. There you go. Well, you got some insight, and you always like, what was it
Finally.
like? What was it like? Oh gosh! Wow. Okay, so that's it for. I got that. Cool. So I think I can put that aside. That's it for the long-winded. Here, let's go exit that and look at this. Okay, cool. All right. I'm gonna go back full screen. Well, we got to get this show on the road here.
Let's do it. You can start with Poison.
Poison and Motley Crue. Hey, real quick, that I need Kim's stories. Holy crap. That was incredible. I had asked him yesterday, Kim Shepard, I said, hey, I know you got stories about CC DeVille and Motley Crue. Would you jot a couple down? And he goes, yeah, man. And well, so today, Will, I started getting nervous about 3:00, 2:30. So I IM'd him. I said, hey, Kim, is there any chance, that you got the anything, and no big deal if you don't. Right. He goes, can you come to my desk? And I went to his desk, and he had written this specifics about both of these bands.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask. So Motley Crue. So you heard my whole background with this stuff, but Motley Crue, to you, was it Dr. Feelgood and hearing the tunes on the radio as well?
Yeah. Like definitely the radio, obviously classic rock radio, Poison, Nothing But a Good Time, and then Motley Crue coming on with Dr. Feelgood. They like to play Home Sweet Home from what's that album called again?
Close enough.
But It's Theater of Pain. Yeah, Theater of Pain. Yeah, like Theater of Pain, Girls, 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 Dr.
Oh,
Feel Good. Definitely all of those are like, those are like the popular albums that
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people probably, for the most part, some general Motley Crue fans would attribute them to.
yeah, yeah.
I think they have some earlier ones, but they're not as
They do. Here you go. Hang on for a sec. I just got to get
well,
my.
Too Fast for Love too, but that one's not as
I think you know what.
prominent as the rest.
Right,
But yeah,
right. Um, I should have just had their album list there, but and you're talking Motley.
yeah.
Yeah. I took the liberty to we might go out of sequence here a little bit instead of I was gonna I'll do Poison first and I'll try to hustle through it, but I couldn't help but this is so
Yeah.
so basically so both of these bands we had seen back when they came out, the VH1 Behind the Music documentaries of Poison and Motley Crue. And the Motley Crue one just blew us away. And the wife loved it. Becky loved it. And we watched it 2 or 3 times because it was so entertaining. How wild their lifestyle was, and those things had footage from the time period, like when they were and passing out on the couch, a little clip, like a 3-second thing, and there of course there's one quote, but I won't do the quote. We'll save that for later. But yeah. Shout at the Devil in their second album, Shout at the Devil, was in 1983.
Yep.
And yeah. Theater of Pain wasn't blah, 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 blah. And then, yeah. And then, so obviously, did I miss like one of the main ones? Did I?
Girls, 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 Dr. Feel Good.
Shout at the Devil. Yeah. And then it was Girls, Girls, Girls. Right. But this gets into, and it's a little too heavy. So I don't know if I want to do that right off the bat because we don't want to like bum people out and stuff. But the substance abuse stuff. Nikki Sixx had overdosed twice, and both times, one time he was left for dead and thrown in a dumpster. That was the first one, because the guy he was with, he's like, "Holy fuck! I just killed Nikki Sixx." Puts him in a dumpster, and we can only laugh at it because the guy is alive and well and he's fine. But boy, my goodness! And then there was a second time, and he talks about that on that documentary, Will, and he said he had he had gone to the second time he overdosed. It was a double whammy. From what I recall from the VH1 documentary, and it's just Nikki Sixx telling the story. He said, "I overdosed. They take me to the hospital, and they revive him, and he goes home, and he said his words were." I went home and I cooked up the biggest bowl of smack I ever saw. And he does it and he fucking ODs. He had just left the hospital. So obviously, and really he had like 2.5 episodes there basically. And
Yeah.
and they ended up getting clean and sober because you have to,
Yeah.
But he had the toughest, he had the the most major drug addiction of the band. But I think they all struggle with different things, right?
Yeah.
But bless their hearts, and man, the guy is fantastic. Man, you see that video, and I'm telling you, it's freaking priceless. And there was one other story I got to tell from that video. This is that this was like the quote of this is the quote. I don't even have to look it up because it was written down on something I printed. But during that, it was the road manager. They had a real tight road manager guy. It might have been two people, and it ended up the one guy left eventually, and it came down to the one guy still. But he always stuck with these guys. And I forget which tour. It was in the '90s for sure, and the substance abuse stuff was at its height. And they probably had a band meeting and said, dudes. So they were booked, and the tour it was going to take them to Europe, and like usual. And they said, he said, we're going to cancel this tour. He said, because if we go, somebody's going to come back in a body bag. One of us is going to come back in a body bag. They canceled the tour. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. And then I think then they really worked at trying to, hey, if we're going to keep going and making records, right, we got to tighten up. But anyway, I'll stop. I didn't want to steal the thunder from.
No, that's good, and I'll definitely talk about that more when we really dive into it, because yeah, they were probably one of the craziest rock bands of the 80s in the terms of their notorious party life, the notorious drug use, how it, like you mentioned, basically almost killed them. Like, it's a miracle Nikki Sixx is still alive.
Yeah,
it's nothing less of a miracle for the rest of them too, because although Nikki Sixx was probably the heaviest, everyone was definitely, their lives were getting ruined in one way or another with the use that they were all going through, like daily. It wasn't like just for touring and stuff. It was like every single day these guys are in the clouds,
they said, I forget the specifics, but they would tour, and that's happened to other bands where it's going so well and the touring's going so well that they come home after the tour, they come home for a month, and then they go back out for another year. Another year. Yeah. And like all of a sudden 2 years of their lives are consumed with touring. Oh my God, that would drive anybody nuts. Just drive you nuts, man. Eventually you would just like, but Willie Nelson loved it. Willie's like, man, Willie was like, there's nothing like the road.
Well, I'll say this, not to like, I'll say this in more of a general sense, because you think about, not obviously, I don't feel like it's that big nowadays. Like, I feel like that whole rock culture is kind of changed into something else nowadays. We don't have as much of that classic, like the only band I can really think of off the top of my head is like Greta Van Fleet, is like some of that more classic, rock style, but with like the way alt rock and I guess like whatever modern day rock is classified as now, like back in the 80s and 90s, rocking was about being on tour, doing drugs, getting with women. Like, that was the lifestyle. That's what you want. You wanted to do that whether you wanted to or not, to become popular and famous.
Right.
And so the culture was just so bad. And
dating from the 70s, 80s, Van Halen, blah blah blah. Yes. Yeah.
So like it was just like ruining bands. And what I was gonna say was,
It
What I was
did.
gonna say was, imagine, because not only drug addiction, also alcohol. Like we lost Bonham to that, you know.
Oh Lord.
And so, what I was gonna say was, all of these, most of our favorite bands that we grew up listening to and that would go on tour, they're touring blasted. They're high and drunk off their ass every night. Imagine if these guys were like clean on that stage.
Right.
Imagine how much of a better musician they could be. Like they were already on so good, and half the time they weren't even like in their right wit. Half the time they were drunk. They're that good drunk. You know what I mean? They can't even really see the stage, and they're like, "Well, I'm still playing." So
Now, now I have to interject that I saw a lot of people, and half of them were straight, on stage,
yeah, of course.
relatively speaking, or straight for sure. I mean, when Sammy Hagar opened for fucking Boston, man, all I can tell you, those guys had to be straight for what they did. They, they were on fire, man. Those guys, Hager and it was the Montrose band without Ronnie Montrose. Man, they were on fire. And so there was a lot of, and of course the opening bands would be more in a position where, hey, we got to be tight and we can't be screwing up, you know. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so be that. Anyway, they all did good. I just launch into Poison?
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea here was I was going to kind of take Poison because of my my appreciation for Mr. C.C. DeVille as a guitarist. So I was going to take Poison, and Will's is going to do Motley Crue. I just wish I could put the two dots above the. Is it above the E?
Yeah, above the E. Yeah.
I wish I could have done that, but so Will. Turns out this is where we're going to be talking here for a while, and I have to take a little gimme break here.
Yeah. So go ahead.
A Jimmy break. Yeah, and then the Kim story. That will say. Don't let me forget the Kim story, please.
I will not.
Oh, look on my sheet. I have the two dots above.
The E.
I have the two dots above. Not that that's important, but all right. Okay.
It could be to someone.
I shall return, as somebody famous once said. All right.
So Poison. Poison's gonna be good to talk about for sure.
And then I got to show you my shirt when I get back.
Okay. Trying to get some information here real quick. Ouch.
All right, that wasn't long. Wasn't long, Shanta. Okay. Hey, so the deal with the shirt is Well, I bought two at Pierce the Veil.
Yeah.
Well, the one that kind of looked like Zeppelin 4 album with the four symbols, um, I misplaced that about 2 months after the show, and it was just been missing. The wonderful wife, my dear wife, found it, and it was funny how it occurred. But I was with her when she found it. She kind of stuck her hand in this spot, pulled out this black shirt. She goes, "Is that it?" So it was the one, right? It's the one you bought at first. There is the one you bought.
Pierce the Veil.
That
So,
night.
so Pierce the Veil.
It's
Pierce the
still-
Veil with Vic Fuentes, now Lionel Robinson,
Yeah,
Jaime Williams, and Tony Parker.
yeah.
They
Wow.
are not notoriously known for drug issues. However, back when Vic's brother, I believe his name was Mike Fuentes, used to be part of the band, he was a drummer.
He was a drummer, yeah.
And they actually had kicked him out of the band because he had had allegations of like sexual misconduct and drug abuse, and they didn't want any part of that. So that's when they got rid of him.
Wow. Well, I knew his brother was the drummer initially, and I never looked into why yeah, that makes sense. Because, man, I tell you what, there's an example. When you see those guys, man, it is full on. They are straight as arrows. You could not, just like Hager couldn't do what he did when I mentioned those guys could not do that. There's no way. There's just no way. There's too much going on. My God, half of it's fucking dangerous. It's
So
like effects and visuals and shit coming in and out and stuff moving. Let me. I left my beverage.
okay.
Yeah, that was stupid. There you go. That was really stupid. Okay. Sorry.
So the brother, so Mike, really quickly, Mike Fuentes left the band in 2017. So if you go back and listen to Pierce the Veil records, everything up until the Jaws of Life was recorded with him. And Lionel is the only other drummer like for Jaws of Life, like he's on that record, but
Wow.
everything else was recorded with his brother.
Wow. Super cool. But anyway, that was Pearson's shirt. But those guys, I can't wait to see them again. Whenever they come back, I'm gonna go.
For sure.
I could not miss that. And anybody, and Will, I forget. So there's an example of you'll see something that's really, really cool and really good. And not to mention the show that you see that just completely freaking, but the tickets were like, how much were the tickets?
$50, if even.
Huh?
They might have been less than $50.
Oh my gosh.
I think they were like $40.
So that is the key to it all. Let's say they were 50. To see that for $50 versus when these people come back around, the name you've heard of 20 years ago and shit, and they're charging 160. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, everybody, do yourself a favor. There's some great music out there. You got to go search it out. But Pierce the Veil would be a good start. Live. Okay, we're hammering that to death from a T-shirt. 49 minutes. Okay, Poison. All right.
Poison.
So from the intro, basically, CC DeVille is my go-to guy for this style of music, and he's really a good guitarist. And let's face it, there were Mick Mars from Motley, man, Mick Mars. Gee,
He was a beast. He was a beast.
So I ended up binging. That's why I was late. That's why we were late getting started. I was on the porch watching Motley Crue cover bands on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my god, this stuff is great. And yeah, yeah. But Mick Mars, my gosh. So back to Poison. All right. All right, we got Poison is Bobby Dahl, CC DeVille, Ricky Rocket, and Brett Michaels is the band. 4-piece. Um, they came from Pennsylvania, and so check this out. They came from Pennsylvania in 1983, and they were jamming and got it together. Who the players were going to be, and it's very likely that at least one of them joined in Los Angeles when they went out to L.A. So they moved to L.A. of course, because that's the deal. That's what you got to do, rock and roll. And so, like I said, there was probably at least one member they picked up in L.A. that ended up to be in the foursome. 85 to 95 was their heyday, for sure. A lot of commercial success with the tunes. So this music, the aesthetic, right? The genre is like they were like glam rock bands.
Yeah.
The hair bands, the hair rock, the hair metal, glam rock, and they all were doing it. Motley, even more so, and Poison as well. Boom. So, for example, and this is kind of a stupid tidbit. Well, you crack me up, man. He's like waiting for it. He's like, huh? 2012, VH1 ranked Poison as one of the top 5 hair bands.
Okay.
VH1. Yeah. Okay, so dropping back, 86, they bust onto the LA music scene and have something to play. 86, they busted onto the LA music scene with the ensemble we're all familiar with and the songs. 1987, Talk Dirty to Me. And of course, I have a version of that I want to play. I have 2 Poison things I want to play, and then I have a cover of a cover band doing Motley, like really good.
Okay.
So that's what I was going to play. But 87 was Talk Dirty to Me. 88, Every Rose has its thorn.
Their ballad.
It was their one and only number 1 hit. Was Every Rose Had a Thorn. Go figure, right? A ballad. That bugs the shit out of me.
Bill, I could not agree with you fucking more. Let me also just really quickly add to what you're saying, because that when you tell me when a metal rock band, all right, because these guys are basically like glam metal, like that, like they're putting on the style, they're doing the effort,
Yeah.
and when they make these fucking sappy ass ballads, don't get me wrong, not a bad song, but it's not what they're known for.
Yeah.
And they make these sappy ass ballads, and people go, oh, look at the look at the range of their musical talent because they can make one song where the BPM isn't 140. Man,
Right.
get out of here. All right.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm like,
like this is ridiculous.
I'm the same. I'm like, I don't want to do a social commentary on the public, but by and large,
there was a point in time
they're looking for ballads.
There was a point in time where every Rose Has a Storm would come on the radio, and I turned my radio off. I go, I don't want to listen to this shit.
Yeah.
And I would turn my radio off, and I'd wait like 3 minutes, and then turn it back on.
Bam.
Like this is ridiculous.
Right. So I'm with you. We're just it's just the way it is, pretty much. Boom. 1991 MTV Music Awards. Oh yeah. So one of the controversial things they did, Will, you'll love this. Joey, you'll love this. It's really a good bit. 1991 MTV Music Awards. They start playing the song that was planned, and CC DeVille stops and wants to play a different song live at the MTV Music Awards. It was awesome. I watched the bit. I watched the whole little video clip. It's on YouTube. And they hey, sorry, freaking what's his fit? Bret Michaels is like apologizing and shit. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. It was, yeah.
Not to deviate too hard, but Nirvana did something like that, where they went and played. I can't remember if it was for like BBC or something. They were invited to play live, and they wanted them to lip sync their music, and they got pissed off. So they go on the stage and they play like shit. Like Kurt Cobain is just screaming. They distorted their musical, like their instruments, and then I think like nearing the end, they just stopped playing for a minute because they had a backtrack playing. And Nirvana said, we don't want a backtrack. We're going to play live. They said, no, well, it's TV. We put a backtrack just to make you sound a little better. So then they stopped playing, let the backtrack finish, and they walked off.
Wow. Fucking Kurt Cobain. Give it up for Kurt, man. That's killer. It really is. He's like, hey, we'll just get there and we'll do it live. And then they, oh my God, they're met with that kind of thing. Man, he someday, so someday we have to do a show on Nirvana, and I'll let Joe Gretzky take that lead.
Joe Gretzky.
Enter Joe. Because
Enter Joe. Metallica. Enter Joe.
Enter
Joe, man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Joe would have to do that for sure. That whole Seattle thing, Joe's got covered so well. It's incredible. I drove back 8 hours in a car from Atlanta with him from 14 years ago, and he proceeded to tell me about the whole Seattle scene. I was like, holy fuck, Mother Love Bone and those bands. I'm like Trees and shit, Oh my God. It's unbelievable. Anyway, we're deviating. Sorry. So I'm kind of blasting through Poison. I keep wanting to say Oasis. That's why I hesitate.
Oasis?
Because it's Poison, Oasis. I don't know. It's O-P. I don't know.
No, I don't know either because that makes no fucking sense.
They're certainly quite different. Oh my gosh. Bret Michaels crashed his car. It was a Ferrari, crashed into a telephone pole, got all busted up. That was in 94. That set them back some. Again, with substance abuse, they had to come around here and eventually that was the drug use was one thing, and then Brett's event with the car accident was pretty major. Um, but what occurred? So this I have 1994 when Brett Michaels had that occurrence there with his car crash, and the band Poison. But Will, what happened was enter grunge. It's amazing that this actually ties in. Grunge entered in 94 and 95, and the hair metal, the Motley Crues and the hair bands and glam rock stuff and the whole scene in LA
kind of died down.
kind of just took throttle back, but they now that's not a good description. They didn't throttle back, but what occurred was the Seattle shit fucking took off. Yeah. And it was one of those things. And that does happen in music often. Over time, history will show. Punk rock coming in after this disco. Who would have thought? It's like, talk about yin and yang. Disco, punk rock. Holy shit. But anyway, those guys. So this was on the VH1 documentary for Poison, and I actually got to hear CC tell the story where he was doing a lot of cocaine. So CC's thing was cocaine, and it was affecting. He ended up getting kicked out of the band at some point. And of course they make amends years later, but it was from his coke use. And he said at the height of that, he weighed 220 pounds. And he does this absolutely wonderful bit as far as like when he's getting interviewed about it. And he goes, yeah, he said, who knew, He said, they kind of look the other way when you're a drug addict. But he said, when you're fat, he said, man, they're like relentless with that shit. he got terrorized more for being overweight. Of course, he's in this cool band that's going around and playing on stage. So anyway, it was eloquent. What do you think?
I think that's a great fucking story. I think Cece and Miguel have a little bit in common with this whole coke this coke fascination. And and we're referencing a coworker came into our cube yesterday, and he goes, I went to dinner with my wife and she ordered a Coke, and I haven't had a Coke in years, and I took a sip and I thought, man, this Coke tastes different than the last time I tried it. This is crazy. So he called the waiter over.
I had Coke in like 15 Coca-Cola. Hadn't drank a Coke in
Coca-Cola. Let's make that very clear.
There you go.
And so he asked the waiter, he goes, what kind of Coke is this? Is this like something special? And the guy's like, I don't know, man. I just hooked up the syrup in the fucking back. I got paid $14 to do it, and I poured it in your cup. And he goes, wow, this Coke is just great. I'm like, Miguel, the kid probably thought you were fucking coked out. He probably went back to the kitchen. It's like, some guy was on Coke asking me about our Coke. Like, I don't know what he wanted from me. He thought I had a dime bag or something. So I think Miguel and Cece had a little bit of a
little Coke problem.
Yeah, a little bit of a Coke problem there.
Yeah. Wow. He did tell that, and we were all perplexed. Joey was kind of like just like looking at him going, I'm not sure what this is. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. That was a great but anyway, so he kicks CC kicks he goes classic case. I would have done the same thing. He went back to his parents' house and his mom basically fucking like clean, went through the freaking, the rehab with them there at the house. Bless her heart, right? Moms will do that forever. Really, both parents will do that forever. I would do it in a heartbeat if I ever had to. But so he kicks it, and then he drops some weight, and I think they kicked him out of the band at that point. He does come back, of course, because even Brett Michaels said. So Brett Michaels was a control freak in the band, and a lot of the fights would happen between CC and Brett Michaels because they were the alpha males, and writing songs and wanted it to be just like they wanted it to be. And they brought him, and Michael said it's just not the same without CC. And classic. Be like Zeppelin.
Yeah.
God forbid if Page stepped away, and Robert would be going, man, we really need Jimmy back.
He would probably say something like,
Pick myself up.
We miss Jimmy Page, but have you guys heard that Kim Shepard guy play? I heard he got the same kind of guitar. Like, he might be able to fill in.
He got the reissue. Yeah.
If we need to do a reunion, I mean, he might be our guy.
Okay, back to Portland. And so we're clipping along, and we're almost done here. Reunion was in 1999, where CC came back to the band, and then a lot of they just kind of carried on. And really, what they did, fast forwarding, I wrote here from 2004 to 2022, they basically kept it together, the same four guys, and they would really, like back in their early days, would open still for like Motley Crue or some really significant headliner. But of course they did shit tons of. This is where I would go. Remember my whole money thing? Like, I would pay $400, but I would pay more than that, actually. If I could go back and see Poison and CC like at the top of his game, man, 500 easy. But anyway, and that's it. And then there's some stuff to play. And then it says Motley Crue will. And it's 1 hour and 7 minutes.
Okay.
So I only had stuff to play. I don't have anything to show. I didn't snap any pictures. So the copyright thing with pictures turns out. So Will, I was just trying to post on Facebook today. It would not let me post any pictures of either of those two bands. It just came up and said it's blocked. We can't. My what I wrote shows up, but below that it was like a disclaimer. It said we can't show these pictures. Yeah. But anyway, so much fun.
Okay. So what do you want me to go into my thing, or are you gonna play something music? How do you want to go? Why do you want to proceed?
You want to grease the skids a little bit here with some tunage, and then it'll be examples of both bands, and then I'll try to make it. You know how I really futz with this nonsense.
Because, hey Phil, that's great and all, but how do we want to proceed now? So I got the point, but now what?
We really didn't go over this part there. The mission thing. Well, as typical, I'm gonna have to go find my phone. But no, it's behind all this paper because what we talking? We were talking on the phone before this started.
Yeah.
It's buried. It's buried under paper. Sorry. I'm like, I'm pretty sure. Go ahead and yeah, you're looking. You're good. You're good. We do have some special Kim Shepherd stories that he actually wrote down, and he's been face to face with both of these bands. And Jesus, and Will, you read you kind of flashed through that the notes he wrote, and man, oh my goodness gracious. Can you talk about that a little bit while I try to find it?
With the Kim Shepherd notes?
Or just how cool it was that you read.
Yeah. He has some crazy stories. I think his father or someone he knows is related to the music industry in some capacity.
Yeah.
And he has written down there that he has met Motley Crue, had a little guitar lesson with Mick Mars, got up on stage with Poison was playing. Which it's like how does he even find himself in the scenario?
In that situation.
So yeah, our coworkers, he has a little bit of a secretive mood. He's a quiet guy. I mean, like he'll talk if you talk to him, but like you would never guess that and a Kim was on stage doing air guitar while Poison's standing right next to him. He's not that, and nothing against you, Kim. We love you, but that's just like honestly, most people, I feel like you walked up to them and they're just sitting at their desk typing. Oh, hey, by the way, I played with Jimmy Page back in the 70s. Yeah, we did a gig once or twice. It was no biggie. And just back to his work.
I sent Jimmy Page a video.
Yeah. Jimmy Page? Yeah, we talk all the time. Yeah. He's like a family friend of mine.
Wow. It's remarkable. His we'll try to touch on that. So this maybe I'd love it. Not because it's an hour and 12 minutes, I'll forego. I had a thing, and it's a guy playing 3 solos of CC's, and he's total pro, and it has the complete music going below it, like Pro Tools, like a Pro Tools thing tracking underneath as he's playing the song, and you can see every note and stuff. It's really cool. But I'll just jump to a live performance, and this is a cover band, and this is where we struggle with music. I have an idea that I'm going to share with you here in a second before we start that, but just do a cover of Poison and then a cover of Motley, and I have them queued up. I just send. When I got smart, I just send the link to myself in text, and then I got it. It's like great. It's like insane. It's like boom. There's that one. There's that one. That's the Poison and thing, and then there's Motley Crue. Yeah, and they're cover bands. So let's do that,
okay.
and then you'll do your thing.
Okay. I'll finish it off.
And then I will tell you the story. I think I told you. Did I tell you where I put on Dirty to Me for the first time when I was getting into this over the weekend? And he came to the window to the slider. She was like totally jamming.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's remember that? Oh, okay. Here, so I did want to and so one of the things they said, Will, was when it distorts like this and you're using crappy. One of the problems is because I have to resort to cover bands on stage at a bar that somebody shot from the audience. The audio already is not good. That's one of the dilemmas. So it's filled with like mid-range and lows and mid-range, and of course these microphones don't pick up some of those frequencies. So that's why it sounds bad. But it said just turn the gain down on mic. So I have, so here's my gain button. That's full up, and then there's it down. So it just turn the gain down. So I'm going to turn the gain down when I play the music, and hopefully it'll help. That's all I can hope for. All right. Okay. And by the way, tax time's coming up, people.
April 1st. April 1st. Get ready. And taxes are no joke.
Taxes are no joke.
So
hey,
don't take April 1st as a joke, okay?
Right. There's nobody fooling you.
The IRS never fools with you. I'll say you that much.
Taxes are due in a couple of weeks from April 1st. Yeah. Certainly you guys know that. Okay. All right. There's a certain level of understanding we all have to have. Yeah, these guys are great. So this is some band that does. So I'm going to try to turn the gain down. Well, you got to tell me if it's okay. Let me turn it up. Fast forward to the guitar player. Super cool. Now, of course, this is I was going to say a cheesy club act version, but actually, these guys are rocking.
That whole like stage setup, I didn't know it was like so it kind of looked like nice. Like it was like a cool lighting and a cool setup. Like it looked like a pretty legit performance for a cover band.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see that.
So it turns out, like I said, and I joked with you two before on the text. Now, when it came to so theirs was really neat. That was fun. Poison, but man, when it comes to Motley Crue, my God, it's a subculture. These bands, like, man, they like go all out with like trying to do what and it's a lot of fun because some of the Motley Crue bands, it'd be like it wouldn't be like some people touring or something. It's
No.
just somebody in whatever city that's
Yeah.
the local and I say local, but big cities. The tribute band for Motley Crue. Man, it's like a subculture. Holy shit, this stuff was coming out of the woodwork. Oh. For instance, I think we have one. Well, talk to me, brother.
That was a fucking cool ass performance. And you know what that got me excited for? We're talking cover bands, and we're about to see a great cover band, I'd assume. Actually, I did hear a little bit of their playing because I went on their website and they sounded great. Me and Phil are gonna be watching a cover band come this Friday evening.
Skinner.
Leonard Skinner, a Florida favorite, South Florida favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm over the moon. Watching that video got me more excited to go and watch that.
Wow. Let's share real quick. Friday, and anybody can join us. Anybody is welcome, and it's usually friends listening, family. You'd have to fly from Atlanta or something, or Baltimore. That'd be probably wouldn't be worth it, but but it might. So Friday, we're going to cut out of work early, and at approximately 3 o'clock, Will and I and Braden and Jorge, we are going to Bike Week in Daytona Beach on Main Street. So we're close as 3 o'clock as we can nail. We're going to go and experience Bike Week. It's the opening day, February 27th is the first Friday, and it goes all the way through the following weekend, Sunday. But yeah. And so what Will was referring to, we're going to do that, and we're going to be on Main Street from like 3:30 to like 6, and then we're going to jump in the car, and we're going to go up to Ormond Beach to Iron Horse, and we're going to see a Leonard Skinner tribute band from Texas. Will, from Texas.
Lone Star Skinnerd. Lone Star Skinner. So
I can tell you, typically the musicians, I'll just say one name and it'll kind of hook you. ZZ Top came from fucking Texas, in Austin, in Texas. This is a Texas tribute band of Leonard Skinner, so it's got to be good. That's all I can surmise.
And in honor of ZZ Top, this Friday, we're going to be looking for some tush.
I'm looking for some tush. I have to play that. It might get blocked, but I can't help it. That song is so good. Hey, I have the ZZ Top legacy, so boom.
This is also a little glam rock.
This is completely on the fly. Texas, Hollywood. I ain't asking for much. Okay, we won't push the envelope there. Will, without a doubt, we have to do a ZZ Top episode.
That would be really fun. I love ZZ Top. I do really, really like them. I don't know how much information we can put in one. We might have to do another like duo episode.
Right. Yeah.
But
when we do that one, we have to interview Mr. Jeff Matter, my buddy Jeff. He saw ZZ Top up in Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh back when he was young. And when I met him in 10th grade, in 10th grade, and 11th, 12th, and we were all, he was he was instantly inducted into the Kissimmee group that I was in. He had seen ZZ Top, and he had never paid much attention. And boy, he turned us on. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God.
So let's get into something here.
Okay. Yeah.
If you could, Phil, I would appreciate if you could bring in here
oh, cool.
my screen.
Okay. So I added, okay, I just need to blow it up, I think. Yeah. Oh, cool.
There you go. Yeah. So, Motley Crue. And like I said, growing up, most of my Motley Crue sort of introduction was on the radio. They had a lot of popular hits. Like you said, they were like a very, very popular glam rock band. Like I said, to name a few, they had Home Sweet Home. They had Dr. Feelgood. They had Kickstart My Heart. Girls, 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 Shout at the Devil. And you know, it all started with Nikki Sixx, and he was looking to make a band, and he met Tommy Lee. They met Vince Neil, and then Mick Mars joined on later when they were in dire need of a lead guitarist. And so I never really knew much about Motley Crue, like the band themselves, until I think I mentioned this to you before, Phil, but you've talked to me with the VH1 tapes, but about, I want to say 5 years ago on Netflix, they came out with this it's a docu movie. So it's like a movie. It's called The Dirt, and I have a picture over here. It's called The Dirt.
Wow.
And it's about Motley Crue's like rise to fame, and then also about their drug addictions, but it's obviously like actors portraying them, right?
Netflix. Yeah.
And in this movie, obviously I'm sure some of it is, well, you know, I would say that some of the events of the movie are a little strained for Hollywood purposes, but with Motley Crue, they might not be. Everything in that movie might be almost to a T. Like it's just them going out on the road, partying, getting wasted every night. And so Phil, I don't know if you know this, but Motley Crue. So if you look at Motley Crue, right, this was their little style here. They had the long hair, they had the eyeliner, they had the face paint.
Glam rock. I mean, look at that shit.
Yeah, and Motley Crue looked up to Kiss a lot.
Yeah,
I know Nikki Sixx really liked Kiss.
Of course. Yeah.
They actually opened on a tour for Kiss back in 1983. They were touring with them, and Kiss had to kick them off the tour for being too rambunctious in between shows and getting them into trouble. Imagine getting a chance to be the opener for Kiss in the early 80s, and you get kicked off the tour.
So this whole episode for me culminated in that one moment that you told that. Oh my gosh, that tells it all. Because everybody back in the day, Kiss was the freaking freak show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
83. Wow. Yeah.
So
How
as we know, they struggled a lot. So Mick Mars, I don't know if you know this, but Mick Mars actually had
wow.
a
I
disease.
I want to go down to say that even though I went off about CC DeVille and that's all true, but Mick Mars equally is he wrote half the songs for the
Yeah,
band.
yeah,
I just
no.
I noticed that
He was
today.
super talented. Him and Vince, they wrote a lot of songs. They were super
Yeah.
talented. Um, he actually had a disease. He had like a spine disease. And so Mick actually wasn't a huge drug addict. Like these guys were into
Right.
heroin, LSD, like pretty
Oh,
much everything under the sun.
a lot of coke. They're probably all doing coke.
Yeah.
Basically, bands back then they were all doing coke. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was not a moment without booze for them, I'm sure. Um but Mick didn't he was a little bit into like prescription drugs because he had back issues and they would tour so much that it
Wow.
would leave him like a little physically disgruntled. So but he never really he was like I would say for out of the whole band he was probably the most straight. Um
Mick.
and so I wanted to make a point here too that so these guys in the height of the 80s are the shit. They're the partiers, they're the rockers, and look at them. They're
Oh,
skin, young, fit guys.
yeah.
Um,
Shit.
they're
Yeah.
cool as hell. And so eventually, because of all the drug issues and the way the band was going, they had to get clean. And so
Right.
now this is a picture of them in modern day. And all I will say is cocaine does wonders for you. All right.
Apparently.
Apparently, it seems
Apparently.
like Vince could have stayed on a little bit, and I think he would have been all right.
Wow.
Um, but no, I'm just kidding. Obviously, these guys they went through a lot, and this is
Yeah.
where they are now, and
This
they're all older people. So
yeah. Will, this is a great picture, man. Dude, this is such a great picture. This is with the band later years. They've got their stuff together. All that madness behind them for the most part. Um, oh my God, Vince. So I'll go from left to right and see. Let me see if I can get it going from left to right. Vince Neil. Um, give me a second. I know the ghostly white guy is Mick Mars. Mick Mars.
well, if you couldn't tell by the fingers here,
Tommy Lee, and that leaves Nikki Six. That would be Nikki Six. Yeah. Wow.
yeah, Nikki's a shorter one. Tommy's always been kind of a tall stud guy,
Oh, Tommy was always tall and scraggly. Yeah.
but
That's
yeah,
kill.
and they're great. I
Man.
mean, I think even with all the controversy and all the things that they did, I mean, they produced some of the best music in the 80s.
They
So, they were up there. They were up there.
wow. So hold on. I love that. That was a good quote. Um, yeah, despite all the stuff they did and went through, they produced some of the best music of the '80s. Right, rock and roll, brother. Man, that's great. Then they did. They did. I was listening to things, so I didn't get to see it firsthand for the most part. I think
Right.
so. Here, yeah, turn this up.
So a little life lesson, when you start drugs, don't get off of them, okay? Just stay there. Stay where you are. You're doing fine. Just
Well,
continue on.
now I would say between the before and after picture, I would beg to differ and say, obviously, they. I mean, look at them. It's like this. It's a joke, really. But this is like me part Joe and 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 Scott or Sean going to Road Atlanta about 10 years ago.
I mean, Motley Crue, they're just
man, they transcended the music scene. It would be equivalent to like the critics are really quite harsh on musicians, and they were in the past. Rolling Stone magazine critics and stuff. They were really critical of these guys. They hate Poison. They just thought that was like stupidest shit they ever heard. But man, those guys they show the test of time.
sure.
And where I was kind of going to go with the critics thing, and Rolling Stone magazine in particular, not to really hammer them, but it was known that the Rolling Stone magazine reviews of the Zeppelin albums, they were like butchered them. They were like they dismissed them. It was like, this isn't that important. This is not. This is they're way too big for the britches kind of shit. And really, what occurs is the public comes out and says, "Hey," and with Motley Crue, I don't care if they're in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if Rolling Stone magazine thought they were good. But all these 40 million people that listen to them, all we know is these guys are badass, man. They were badass.
Well, if you think about it, I will say this.
Oh man, no, that's freaking me out.
Sorry, I gotta.
No, I'm joking.
Here, I'll stop the screen. If you think about it, bad publicity is still publicity. And when Rolling Stones goes out and calls your band out and says this band's a piece of shit, and 10 million people all over the world are reading Rolling Stone magazine, they're going, Led Zeppelin, let me listen to one of their records and see how bad they are. And then all of a sudden, they're the biggest band of the 70s. Like in a way, it's almost like they propelled them. Because if you're going to go out somewhere and you're going to say this person, if somebody came up to me and they said, Will, this artist stinks. He's the worst I've ever heard. I'm going to go, well, I want to be the judge of that. Let me hear him. I want to see how bad he is.
Sure.
And maybe he will be bad. I'm like, oh, wow, that's horrible. That was horrible. I can't believe that entered my eardrums. But guess what? At the end of the day, I still streamed that guy's song. He got a stream out of me just because I wanted to listen to how bad he was. And back in the day, you couldn't stream the song. You had to go out and buy a vinyl or CD just to hear how bad they were. So
you did. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. This is great, man. This is good content. Let's play some. Let's play some Motley Crue.
Yeah, play the cover if you haven't. I'm super down to hear that.
I got a cover, and I have to turn the game back down. Let me ask. Was the music more audible when I turn the game down?
Yeah, it was fine. You're not using your SM57 though, right? You're using like a normal mic.
Dr. Feelgood. Oh, it's 50, baby.
I think you're
58. I gotta go do a GoFundMe for. Hey, let's raise money for Phil to get an SM58. I'm hoping somebody that I gave one to would just call me and go, Phil, like, Bob Batista or somebody. Hey, I got one of your 58s.
When you play the next song, take the pop filter off. It might distort it some.
Okay. So this is here it is. And actually, I think I started. So I was binging Motley Crue cover bands on the porch before we started. But one of the hooks was Mick Mars. I actually wrote it down. I said, "Oh my god, that's so good." I'm not going to find it right now, but this guitar part that Mick Mars came up with one of their popular songs. It might not be this one, but it might be. Um, yeah, I'm like, this is when you hear, when those guys, you know, it's thoughts in my head that I'm not going to get out right now, so I'll stop. But it might be in this song.
I don't think that's the one. I think you got the wrong band there.
It was the wrong band. Turn the game down. Can you hear it at all?
Yeah, I can hear it. Okay. That was the guitar part. That Mick Mars part in the chorus. Oh my gosh. I'm like, wow, that's as cool as anything I've heard Steve Vai ever do. Just as cool as Steve Vai stuff. Oh my gosh. Anyway, oh, and the guy's doing a little lead here. I think we get the idea. That's probably not really. Oh my god! Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Motley tunes.
Hell yeah, Phil.
Man,
Sometimes you just need some heavy rock just to blast it, man. Gets you in the rock and roll mindset. It kind of makes me want to go rail a line off a stripper's booty a little bit. Kind of puts me back into the Motley Crue mindset when I listen to them. It's almost like you can't listen to Motley Crue unless you're doing that. I don't know. But hey, they set that expectation, so not my fault.
yeah. It was. It's all on video. You go get your camera. That's the quote I have to say. I don't think I said the quote.
Go get your camera.
Actually, I have the quote here, and we have the Kim Shepard story and stories, and we probably should end it.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, where did it go? Oh, it was on the VH1 special with Motley Crue, the documentary, and they were basically they were basically making a point like, hey, yeah, yeah, we were all, big party scene, blah blah blah, and you know, oftentimes, uh, when it starts to get really rowdy, they're like, dude, you know, put the cameras away, put the camera. This is pre-phone stuff. There weren't phones back then when these guys were doing this.
Yeah.
Cameras, right? So the thought was like, hey, put the cameras away. But Motley Crue was different, and they say it in the documentary. Shit's getting all juiced up, post show or whatever, and they're partying. And one of the crew guys, one of the Motley Crue guys, dude, go get your camera. Go get your camera.
They're like the rock and roll jackass.
Go get your camera. We're gonna film this shit, and there's gonna be naked people. they were so out of control. It was so unbelievable.
So Phil, the adjective motley, if you didn't know, means and incongruously varied in appearance or character, meaning that it is a variation between each person, but they're still one because of the crew. So motley kind of means like weird, disparaged, oddballs. So I don't think there's a better name than Motley Crue for Motley Crue.
That's eloquent. That's really cool. Yeah, true. My gosh. So
yeah,
I kind of want to run to the restroom, but we have it'll bust up the thing, and so it'd be better. I'm fine.
Yeah, we can just have some closing statements.
But Mr. Kim Shepard,
yeah, he's part of that.
Mr. Shepard, and I'm gonna have to kind of blast through this. And I told Kim, I was like, dude, this will be like documented in history. You're not losing your notes here. He goes, oh, no problem. He goes, take them. I said, Kim, I staple all this together as an episode and set it aside, and then go on to the next one. So I said, it's going to be captured. Believe me, it'll be on file because it's so cool. So Mr. Kim Shepard at work, electrical engineer. My recollection real quick was he was best friends with a dad that was an A&R arts and repertoire guy for one of the big labels, right? And entrenched in music. And Kim mentions Cleveland, Cincinnati. So I think Kim grew up in the Midwest, like Indiana, Cincinnati, Ohio kind of areas and such. But anyway, he had this affiliation. He had this friend whose dad was involved with the music industry, bottom line. And it allowed them over the years to get, now they're 20 and 22 and 25 and whatever. And now, like, hey, we can get passes. We can get backstage passes and passes to almost any show that they're, this guy's dad's involved with. So it happened to be, and of course they gravitated toward Poison and Motley Crue. Just so happens. So this one's in 2000. But I'm going to go back in time. There's only two. There's 2011 and there's 2000. So 2011, it's Motley Crue and Poison, the 30th and the 25th anniversary of each band. It was anniversary tour. Cincinnati, Ohio, Mount something Riverbend Music Center. So here he is. This is Kim telling the story. Met CC DeVille backstage in the catering area and sat across from him at the table. Real funny guy. And he embellished and told me stories where he didn't recognize that it was him because he had his like hair. CC had his hair up, kind of back, and like a hat on, and Kim's literally sitting across the table in the hospitality area, across from CC DeVille, and didn't realize it was actually him. He said it took him he figured it out, and the guy was so once CC started talking like he does, guy's like mesmerizing hearing that guy talk. It's fucking amazing. And then he realized who it was. But so the last sentence of that 2011 section, and he told me about this and kind of in detail, and I won't go into detail, but he said, personal guitar lesson from Mick Mars. So there was a guitar there, and Kim had it in his hands, and Mick Mars from Motley Crue said, hey, man, and this was like, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, like before the show was ever going on during the day. They're hanging out, and Mick's like, hey, man, check it out. Let me see that. Grabs the guitar and proceeds to give Kim a little guitar lesson.
That's crazy shit.
That's just so unbelievable. It's totally believable. And knowing Kim, I know this is all true. I've heard these stories more than once. It's really cool. Yeah, it'd be like when Page and Plant went back out on the road there in the 90s, their mid 90s. And we're in at McGuire's, and Page happens to be there. And it's like, hey, you guys got a guitar here? No. And you just go sit there and watch them play or something, be like that.
Yeah.
For Kim, it would be just like that. In 2000, the millennia, this is cool. Got to get, so check it out. In 2000, Kim Shepard, it was called Power to the People Tour in 2000 with Poison, Cinderella, Don Dokken, and Skylar. He mentioned, just as he was going over these notes, he goes, and I met Don Dokken there at the show. Don Dokken, man, fucking Dokken. Heavy freaking man. Dokken kicked ass back in the day when it was really heavy. Oh man, I met Don Dokken. It was at the Hard Rock Live in Orlando, Florida, all access pass. And he went out on stage with Poison and the Road Crew. So there was a show where there was like a multiple bill with those bands I mentioned, Cinderella and Poison. And Kim, he said, so he had the pass with his buddy, and at some point the band, the headliner band, said, "Hey, Crue, come on out and come out on stage." And I somewhere along the way I've seen that where the band recognizes the Crue and give them recognition, and they come out, front, 20 schlubs, just schlubbing out on stage, and it's cool as shit. Kim decides, I'm going to go out there with him. So he walks out on and he's like kind of side stage as I recall, but he's out there and it's some Poison got him out on stage, the road crew, and Kim decided to join at so in 2000, whatever age you would have been, approximately the age I was in 2000, late 30s. So anyway, so those are the stories. Man, I drug it out. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, be careful with the gamer shit, talking to your Joey like, oh yeah, we're gonna ambush these motherfuckers.
No, I was just saying that concludes a pretty interesting, fun episode. That was fun. That was cool. I liked the topics, but and we'll figure out what we're gonna do next week. But I mean, all right. I don't think I have anything else. So guys, I don't think I have anything else for today. We can conclude the meeting here and give you all back a couple minutes every day.
Right. Oh, Chiefs, right? Chiefs. Actually, looking at it, it's like 11 after 9, so we would have gone over. Or it was a half-hour meeting and it was ending at 9:30, and we did end up early. Right? And the Chiefs love the shit out of that. Like, I can go get a bagel.
But yeah, man, no, it's fun. Yeah, we're excited for Friday. We'll have so probably some of our content next week will be about Bite Week this weekend.
Yeah. So
and I'm going to be going to a concert of sorts on Saturday night. So I will also be interjecting that next week.
Nice.
It's not something typical. It's a little interesting, but I'll tell you more about it once it's over.
That's okay. But I have something to bring up to you. So show the folks the show's over. But I just got to pass this by. We usually do an after thing, but we're not tonight because it's late and boy, I got to take a piss. But Will, Friday? So not tomorrow. I'm sorry, not this Friday, but the following Friday in Sanford at a spot that we haven't been to yet is my friend Marshall's band, Somebody's Hero, the original band. It's heavy as shit.
Okay.
And another band called Death FX. Death FX.
Okay.
I've seen once before. They're billing. They're the second and third band that goes on before a headliner in Sanford. Never heard of the headliner in my life, but knowing those two bands.
What's the name of the headliner?
I'll look it up.
Okay.
But $10. The tickets are 10 fucking bucks. $10. So, dude, I'm so there, and I hope you join me. This would be kind of picking back up with seeing really cool, heavy shit for
okay.
for $10 in Sanford. I have it. Hang on. Not recent. There we go.
What's the name of the place?
Now again, if you had Facebook, you would know this, but
Bill, I don't even think it's an app on the App Store anymore.
they discontinued.
I think they discontinued that like 20 years ago, bro.
The best was, I think, the last episode or whatever episode I brought it up. Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you know, and you go, yeah, like all 150 people that are still on it.
Yeah. For the 100 people that still have that app downloaded on their phone, if you reference Phil's Facebook, you will find out what he's talking about.
I can't find it.
Okay, that's fine. You can tell me tomorrow.
I can't find it, but here's a killer picture of Emma Ensign. Emma
Nice.
kick it out. Oh my gosh.
All right, well, I'll let you go take a whiz, and I'll head out of here and get ready for tomorrow. So it was
Okay.
fun. I'm ready for the next one for sure. Let me know what it's gonna end up being.
All right, and we'll I'll get your input again, and we'll
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But so we'll throw out the idea that, hey, the 20s, you know, the 20th episode, the 10th episode, 20th episode, 25th episode should be something special. And I dig that idea. And that'll be the motivation to do Zeppelin. Ah, my God. But so much.
All right, I'll talk to you, Phil.
Okay.
All right.
We essentially had one listener on occasion, and that was it.
Yeah, we gotta advertise the next one a little bit better at work.
Dude, I've been like humping it, man.
We gotta do the email. We gotta do the email.
I know, and I'm totally joking, but
yeah,
it's really they're seen afterwards.
Yeah.
But
All
right. but I'm here to tell you, at some point we're going to be approached by somebody that says, "Hey, I think this thing is gold."
Hey, well, what? One more thing,
guys, to the top, which I didn't want to go to the top.
One more thing, like, subscribe, notification bell, public announcement. Everybody needs to watch to the end of the video now.
Like and subscribe. We didn't say it at the beginning. All right. Well, I love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like crap. I gotta exit out all this. All right. End stream. All right. Adios, muchachos.